So it took a bunch of disconnecting and connecting the mic until it started to pop up in the presentation. Great. So sorry for that, and I tried to make up for the time I lost. So welcome everyone, and thank you very much for attending. I'm Florent Germain. I'm a pre-sale engineer at PTC in charge of all the augmented reality aspect at PTC. So if you're not familiar with the company PTC, we are a software company, a US software company that has a background in CAD and PLM. You may know Creo or Pro Engineer or Windchill, and we entered the IoT and augmented reality field a few years ago with the acquisition of both the ThinkWorks platform for IoT and the Vuforia brand. So today I'm here to discuss a few new features that are coming with the last release of Vuforia Engine 9.0, and in particular the new area targets. But just before that, a quick recap about what is Vuforia Engine and what it enables. So this is an SDK that at PTC we leverage for use cases all around the value chain, whether it is for helping frontline workers to service their product, to support the engineering during the design phase, or for the manufacturing to review live IoT data on the shop floor, but also, and that's where Vuforia Engine shines, in the sales and marketing area where we can leverage augmented reality for better brand implication. So what's Vuforia Engine? Vuforia Engine is an SDK that's basically gives your application eyes to understand what it's looking at. It's a computer vision SDK that is natively supported by Unity, but can also be used in native development. That will allow you to make very powerful computer vision recognition and tracking to enable your augmented reality application. Nowadays, it's one of probably the most used application on the Unity apps on the app stores to create augmented reality experience, either on iOS or Android or HoloLens, with over 60% market share. We have one big differentiator is beyond the tracking of image targets and environment recognition. We are also able to recognize 3D object from the scan or from the CAD data, allowing for very compelling augmented reality experience with X-ray effects, data visualization, and so on. And all those experiences are also available in a wide range of headsets, either the classic HoloLens 1 and now HoloLens 2, but also the Vuzix platform and recently the Magic Leap as well. But most of our applications are these days still working on phones and tablets, whether Android or iOS or UWP for Windows. So when you want to augment your world, you have to attach your contents to this world, and you have to create something that's contextual to it. And for that, with Vuforia Engine, we provide a wide variety of different types of what we call targets. Either it's from the QR code or what we call the view mark, which is basically a branded QR code that you can generate at scale, the image target that you're probably all familiar with, but also the multi-target and cylinder target that are mostly used in packaging industry, where we can track all corners, all sides of your box or your soda can or bottle of water. The model target in the bottom of the screen is definitely where we shine, with the ability to use augmented reality, artificial intelligence to train our recognition engine so it can automatically recognize your object and estimate the pose to initialize tracking and make sure that no matter where you look and how you move around, we perfectly superimpose the 3D content on top of it. But today I want to focus on the last addition to this gallery of targets, which is the area target. And to understand what it is, let's just look at a very, very quick video that automatically explains what it does. And in really 2 words, it's model target, but for the whole scale of your factory or retail shop. And this is a huge step in the right direction for us of having augmented reality as a everyday tool and something that everybody can use and leverage in their day-to-day life, either it is at work or for leisure. And this is just the beginning, because this is our first release of area targets, and a lot of very exciting stuff is coming with the next release. So today I want to explain to you how it works and how you can create your own and how you can leverage that in your project. So it consists of 3 basic steps. First, you have to scan your space using, for the moment, a specific camera, but soon you'll have a wide variety of camera available to you. And then you're able to auto this content in your preferred way of working. Either you are developing in native format or using Unity. And after that, you're able to augment your world from basically any place in your scanned environment. We automatically recognize your position in space, and where you are, we position yourself in this environment, and we augment it correctly so you can keep walking and wandering around, and we always make sure that you are seeing the right content at the right location as it was planned for by you when you created your experience. So let's look at the workflow in a little bit more detail. So for the moment, the only available camera for that supports the area targets is the Matterport Pro 2 scanner. It is a very widely available scanner, widely used by let's say building companies and the agencies trying to sell you their nice flats. You can they have a very compelling workflow already, so we decided to leverage this for our first release, because there is a wide range of available partners already equipped that can come to your site, scan it in a couple of hours, and provide you with a scan in a matter of hours or days. So once you are ready to create your scan, you'll be able to you'll have this companion app on your iPad that will provide you feedback about your scan and the completeness of this scan. We have a few guidelines that we'll be reviewing at the end of this presentation about how to scan, but let's say currently this is the fastest available scanner we can leverage for area targets compared to other tools that are on the market, like LiDAR scanners and so on. Once you have completely scanned your environment, you'll upload this scanner to the Matterport cloud, where it will be processed for a few hours, and then you'll end up with a 3D model of your environment. This is where we take the hand, let's say, instead of letting Matterport do the work, and we leverage the area target generator. The area target generator, in the same sense as the model target generator, is an application that a desktop application that will create a tracking data set of your environment to allow you to track it everywhere inside of it. Here, I want to highlight the fact that it doesn't require connectivity. Once you have generated the data set of tracking, you can be completely disconnected and manage to keep tracking no matter where inside your environment. This is a very important point, especially in the industrial space. So this generator will create your data set that you can that is then available in two formats: the native format as a .dat and a .xml files, or in the as a Unity package that you can directly drop into Unity for authoring, which is the next steps. And then it's up to you to see what you want to do with this for your 3D or augmented reality experience. You can add 3D labels, trigger events with colliders, so when people enter specific rooms, things will start to happen. You can bring in IoT data, so you can leverage real-world data and display them in augmented reality all around your world without you to have to place a screen and so on. And as always, you can leverage that to create step-by-step instruction or video instruction, dispatch around different objects in your environment, either it is a retail store for advertising and the instruction on how to use specific equipment in the industrial landscape. And once you are at this stage, you are ready to test. So we have a test application where you load your data set and you can automatically test if the tracking is good and everything is working fine. And then you can move on to authoring. So let's look at just a few examples of how customers are leveraging this technology. Here we can see Hevonic using that for plant inspection, guiding the user in space, providing IoT readings, and also work instruction about which wheels to turn and in which direction for specific operation during the process of control and maintenance. We also have another partner who is in the room right now. It's nextscale Vision. They're in the smart building business, and they have a very exciting application around that, leveraging their existing platform where we are directly providing IoT data inside the environments, either it is localization of the user, so we display the right interaction tools at the right spots, but we can also see live data directly displayed from the air condition monitoring to the windows being opened or closed as soon as you enter the building or you wander around during your inspection. So here we can see he's entering the expert mode, and in this mode he's able to look at the feature of controlling the ventilation system and making sure that everything is correct. And if you look at the window in just a second, you'll see that we can now have information about the fact that the window is closed. But as soon as somebody will open the window, as we are leveraging real-time IoT data, the sensor is triggered and we automatically update the ThingWorx platform that will then send the data back to us, and we can display that in augmented reality right away. Other applications of the technology are in situ authoring. So we can imagine people doing inspection work, also able to add augmented reality comments all around their environment. So for the next person doing the intervention, being able to pick up right where the previous person stopped, or maybe having direct instruction about how to fix specific equipment. So we created a wide library of tools and widgets that we can now leverage in pretty much all our applications, and they are also compatible with every spaces that we can create. And one major application is obviously indoor navigation. So we can create assistant that will automatically guide you in the space, no matter how complicated they are, leveraging the Unity navigation system that's embedded into Unity that is really performant and that can be updated at runtime if needed.
Hi, Florent. It's James. If you don't mind, I don't know how long your presentation is still before the end. but
just a
maybe.
couple of slides.
Yeah, okay. And after that, maybe we can take one question
Yeah,
and
sure.
see next, do the next. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks. So yes, just if you want to get started, so it's been released, it's available to everybody. Just a few requirements before that. Obviously, for the moment, it's still limited to indoor spaces. The Matterport Pro 2 camera is the only one available, even though it will change really soon. For the scanning best practices, every 2 meters at 1.5 meter height. And for the space size, at the moment, we have a limitation around 1,000 square meter, but it's also bound to expand a lot in the coming release. Here, so this slide, I think you'll be able to access the slides. So here you have the quick start guide with all the information that will be needed for you to create your own. Feel free to reach out if you have any issue setting up your account and making sure that you have access to all the features. And one last thing to close this presentation, and sorry for the time. We released the Vuforia Spatial Toolbox, that is a set of tools allowing you to connect equipment to edge servers and leveraging augmented reality as the human interface with your equipment. It's available for free. Everybody can leverage that, install that, test that on their own systems. And it now supports area targets, allowing you to document the space in a very, very effective manner and making sure that you are able to connect to a really complex system at the factory scale. Thank you a lot for your attention.
Okay, Arnaud, there are 3 main questions. First one is from Arnaud Lacaze, Gobelin. What is the licensing policy?
Okay, so the licensing policy is similar to the Vuforia Engine licensing policy. So we have the Vuforia License Pro that needs to be acquired, and then there is an optional license that gives access to both model target and area targets. That is additional. It's a per year basis, and but apart from that, you probably need to reach out to our sales people to get better information about that, because pricing is a domain where there's a lot of variation at the moment. So it's probably better to reach them for specifics about price.
Okay, thank you. I think that there are many other questions from Jens and Sachin. Florent, if you don't mind, can you just maybe go and see them if they want to discuss, so we can switch to the next conference, or maybe
Sure.
have a question during the panel, because we are already quite late. Yeah. So if you check on the chat, Florent, you will see where the main people who ask the questions. Jens, as I said, and Sachin Sharma. If you don't mind.
Sure. We can definitely meet somewhere private if needed to discuss those. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Florent. Thank you for your presentation. And now the next speaker will be Marie-Julie PECOULT from CAPGEMINI. And sorry for announcing it earlier, but now it's her turn to make a presentation on Andy3D product owner. And so I leave you the stage, Marie-Julie.
Hello. So happy to see you, everybody. I'm Marie-Julie PECOULT. I am in charge of the product Andy3D Remote into CAPGEMINI. If we arrived, normally I will propose some speak from Laurent Onuga, that is her customer from Airbus Defence and Space, that should do feedback on Andy3D Remote use for part inspection at distance. So I hope we will be able. We will try. So the next slide. No, not a good one. Sorry. Okay, so into CAPGEMINI, we have a big activity on immersive technologies. So around 300 people able to develop 3D application on AR and VR. The majority of the time it's into manufacturing context, industrial. The objective is to propose a very efficient digital worker. The different use case we propose to address is on prototyping, to use virtual and simulation in order to test system before in the reality. Of course, we have a big activity also on training and virtual reality. I won't share the link you have on the PPT, but I hope we will share with you. It's an example of realization we did for BMW in Germany, for example, with HoloLens 1, in order to help operator to be trained before the assembly line, for example. Of course, the majority of the use cases are more on production, on assembly line. We have realized a lot of project and implementation on the assembly in augmented reality and in partnership, for example, with Diota, that is just after us, that is a big partner of CAPGEMINI, with quality checking, for instance. And then we have a big activity on the maintenance, and the product I will introduce after, Andy3D Remote, is a part of this portfolio. We have big partnership with Microsoft. We are on the village if you want to come, and we have another conference this afternoon with HoloLens 2 demonstration. We have also a big collaboration with PTC that we have seen before, because we work on other subjects also with them on PLM and so on, and it's into the continuity to work on this subject with IoT or augmented reality. Next. So the product Andy3D Remote is really a product on the shelf. It's not services. It's a very particular subject into CAPGEMINI that is more on services. So the objective is clearly to enable two persons to be connected thanks to video, audio, and so on, in order to collaborate on issues. The objective clearly is to use Wi-Fi or the 4G you have. We have some activity also on 5G that is coming. Andy3D Remote will be in demonstration in Paris and Mumbai on these platforms. We have also the capability to manage low bandwidth in order to enable the call the maximum. So with audio, if the bandwidth is too low, we can have only photo exchanges. The solution is on SaaS, but we have some activity with some customer with sensitive data to propose this solution on-premise, so completely internally with no internet connection. Of course, CAPGEMINI has a big activity on IP, so it's possible to help a customer to integrate and to customize, if needed, the solution into their IT. Like I said, the features are classical, like audio, video, chat, make a post, doing annotations on this post, take photo, exchange documents also. The expert will be able to share his screens. A big added value, and the main objective is clearly to be available on really multi-devices, because a customer has already a very large park of mobiles or tablets, for instance. So the objective is to propose a solution on this maximum of devices. We have also a web version that is easy to use and to deploy. Of course, we have very simple devices, but also we propose very advanced features like augmented reality for annotations and 3D model sharing. So the version is available on HoloLens, but also on RealWear for a simple use of the camera by the operator in order to have hands-free. We have a SDK version that can be interesting to integrate into other products. Of course, we manage a maximum the security of the data during the flow and the storage on the cloud. At the right, we have also a video of Andy3D Remote that is on YouTube that you can have a look. It's a very simple demonstration in order to understand the concept of this remote assistance. So we did with Safran on an helicopter engine, for instance. And at the left, you have something that is very important. Today, we are into a very big event around AR and VR. We all know, if we work on it from a long time, that it's sometimes difficult to show the return on investment of the use of these new technologies. CAPGEMINI did a very interesting studies on this I could share with you. And the main subject is that remote assistance is very interesting because it's the easier solution to deploy and with a very fast and big return on investments, because of course you use immediately, you don't have to produce something, you deploy the tool, you use it, and so you avoid travels, you resolve issues rapidly, and you can reduce also the expert intervention. Can use also a lot for training on the job. If we can see the next slide, I don't know, I see a black screen.
Is it not working?
I don't know, I see a black screen. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, I think.
Okay, let's do a refresh. Tristan is making the refresh of it. Yeah, everybody sees the black screen. Can you please wait for 1 sec?
Yes, I think the previous one.
Ah, okay.
Just before this one.
Yeah, yes.
So this is the example of Airbus Defence and Space, but I would like to share with you some credentials with big customers. So we did a lot of realization with Schneider, with MAN. We discussed about Safran. We have some discussion with the CNES, of course, on the subject also of on-premise infrastructure. We have some activity also because we are in Toulouse with Airbus aircraft with the capability maybe to integrate some features of remote assistance into existing application on HoloLens thanks to SDK. We win also a very big project with the manufacturers on HoloLens deployment with the use of 3D model sharing between the manufacturing when they have issues with the design office in order to have a better quality and to resolve rapidly issues. And as Andy3D Remote is a product that is available in demonstration in all innovation centers of CAPGEMINI around the world, we have the chance to have very large discussions with customers like you can see from very large domains. So we can talk about, for example, BIE, but SBM also, that is both OneWeb in Toulouse, the French Army, SEAT in Spain, and so on. So thanks to a visibility, we have the discussion on this product that is very interesting today with a situation also. We can go to the next slide. I will test something. I have the sound of my customer that proposed to explain the use of Andy3D into ADS. We will see if it's okay. Do you hear his voice?
Yes.
Perfect. So I launch.
Perfect. Hi, friend.
So you don't have the sound?
I can hear you. No? I have the sound.
Okay, can you please answer by the, yeah, everybody's answering by the chat is okay. You don't have any sound, you don't hear Marie-Julie anymore? Answer by the chat, please.
I see a lot of people saying no.
Yeah. usually it can be your setups. You can be on the right hand side, you know, there is a gear. You select reinitialize voice. They're not hearing the testimonial.
It's okay. You hear me?
Okay, it's the interview.
Yeah. Okay. Can I try something to share the video?
We have the video has to be it's specific to be to launch it. Just wait 1 sec. I'm seeing with Tristan.
I'm not sure you have the video.
Okay. You have to give the link to Tristan. He'll be the one to display.
Yeah, but it's not possible. It's on my PC. Okay, it's not a problem. I thought that launching the video with the sound I could share, but if it's not possible, it's not a problem.
Okay.
I will try so to explain. So this is the slide I did with my customer, so Laurent Onuga, that is in charge of the department for engineering and thermal product and mechanism. So the objective of this department is to propose a product with added value from engineering, and their objective is clearly to work with external partners in order to share their facilities and to optimize the cost. So they are working with a filial that is EHP in Belgium, and they work with them for manufacturing some parts, and so they inspect the part from Toulouse before receiving and to assemble them. So they decided previous year to use remote assistance in order to have a very design office extended and to optimize their collaboration. So the objective is to enable project manager from Toulouse to inspect parts from Belgium before receiving. So thanks to that, they will be able to avoid the travels and to save time. Sorry, but it's still the previous slide. Thank you. And so they started to use Andy3D Remote previous year, and thanks to that, they identified some improvement in terms of hardware, because for inspection, they need that the tablet user, for example, are not moving the tablet. So we will propose to have some attached for the tablet and very specific camera in order to have a very good quality. Then they decided also to use a 3D model in order to have it in AR and to check the quality, looking to the DMU and say, okay, we have the same that we decided to add the design. So they use 3D models also. And so the next step will be to use this type of application for other manufacturers and partners, and also to share this collaboration way with the AIT in Toulouse. And so the last slide is just a synthesis in order to remind that the solution is on the shelf. The objective is to be multi-devices. It's a SaaS solution, scalable and secured. Of course, it's a simple plus very advanced feature of on AR and VR. We have a very large range also of customers. So of course, we have to be flexible on the business model sometimes. So we can have some discussion with you on it. And the very big interest of CAPGEMINI on this type of product is really to help customers to define a very large digital strategy for this type of subject with remote, but also maybe AR and VR for operation, but also IoT and so on. The objective is, of course, to deploy this solution worldwide, because a customer have facilities around the world with 24/7 support. And if needed, thanks to a lot of activity in CAPGEMINI, we can help also on the complete process industrialization and deployment. Like you can see, it's a very large sector solution. It can be used in any cases. And also into each customers, we see that it can be used in different departments. So in design office, but also between design office and manufacturing, or into manufacturing for assembly line or maintenance, and also with customer support, of course. I think I don't have time now, but this afternoon I will do another presentation on this subject with HoloLens 2 demonstration into a Microsoft Village. So if you want to participate and to see the video of Andy3D Remote demonstration on HoloLens 2, you can come, and I hope I will have the sound for my customer.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marie-Julie. I think if you have some questions, you can see Marie-Julie right now. Maybe Marie, you can go and see the people who want to ask some questions directly in the chat. It is true that we have to switch to the next conference, but if you want, we can answer one question as you wish, Marie-Julie.
One question, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Okay, feel free to ask your question, whether on the public chat
I
or
see one
directly by raising your hands.
Yeah, I see Lucas Sola, but I'm not sure to see the question. You can talk, maybe?
Yes. Okay. Okay, Luca is not answering.
I will just answer some questions. So yes, we can share product roadmap with you, of course. So do not hesitate to come to me. So the health safety, her tool is for helping, but if we need to have hands-free, of course, it's better to use, for example, glasses. But we do not manage the health of the user, or the objective is not to add another problem, of course. Okay, I propose to continue, and do not hesitate to, I will answer to the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye. Okay, so the next presentation will be made by Lionel, the CEO of Diota Soft. Yeah, thank you, Lionel, to be here.
So, hello everybody. I'm Lionel, co-founder and CEO of Diota. I'm very happy to participate in this virtual event today. This is the first time for me, but I think it's very important to keep our community active during this so special period of time. So I would like to thank once again the whole Laval virtual team for making this event possible despite this context. Congratulations to Laurent and his team. More than ever, you made of the world virtual a reality. During this webinar entitled Maximizing Quality, Productivity and Traceability with Digital Field Synergies, next slide, I suggest that we once again consider the contribution of the technology solutions that we are working on within our Industry 4.0 community. This webinar comes in three parts. Firstly, a reminder of the industrial challenges we face and how digital technologies can and should allow industry players to meet them. Secondly, I will introduce real use cases of Diota solutions and share with you tangible experience in terms of value creation and return on investment. I will deal in particular with the needs for a cross-technological approach. And finally, I will finish by highlighting the way Diota wishes, in a more than ever collaborative approach, to continue to contribute to this new industrial revolution, in particular thanks to a brand new generation of solutions that will be available in coming weeks. If you agree, let's start by setting the industrial context. Indeed, before talking about technology, and for theory across technologies, we need to keep in mind what are the challenges we are trying to meet. Industry players, whatever their size and their position in the value chain, are now faced with decisive issues. First, the reduction of time to markets with a now almost systematic requirement for zero default. Then, the complexity of the product and related processes, in particular due to the willingness of customers and consumers to be able to personalize things more and more. Finally, a side effect of the first two, the requirements which industry players are now faced with in terms of training and skill development for field operators. Due to the complexity and the fluctuation of the tasks that operators have to perform every day, we observe far less repeatable and predictable operational perimeters than was the case in the past. So today, it is all of the production and maintenance system that must be agile and comply with this complexity and uniqueness of industrial products. Sorry, the slide switched. Yes. So, in our view, three areas of performance must be addressed in priority by Industry 4.0 technologies in order to contribute to these new industry requirements. First of all, the quality. It is not easy, it's not actually easy to demonstrate the creation of direct and measurable value in terms of industrial quality. However, in my view, this is the tip of the iceberg of the value brought by digital technologies for industrial land. This is why, within the framework of this webinar, I will focus in particular on actual applications relating to quality. Second, productivity, of course, or how to contribute to improving the performance of operators and more generally speaking, of workers in operational areas. In this context, beyond optimizing cycle times, digital technologies also make it possible to considerably simplify training and skills ramp-up phases. Finally, a new form of stability made possible by digital workflows that enable upstream and downstream communication between engineering spheres and operational areas. Thanks to these digital technologies deployed in the field, it is now possible to feed a digital twin, thus recording and giving access to the life of a product at all stages of its life cycle. Here also is a key challenge for the safety and optimality of products throughout all their life. Well, the vision we share at Diota as regards this contribution of digital technologies to performance optimization is summarized in this diagram. In addition to the value directly added by the solutions deployed in the operational field through technologies such as interactive 3D, augmented reality, automated control, and so on, we are convinced. Sorry, I think slide switched. It's okay. So in addition to this value directly linked to the solution deployed, we are convinced that a large part of the value brought lays in the creation of tangible and bilateral links between engineering space and operational field. Thus, augmented reality is not an end in itself. It is a means of materializing digital intelligence from engineering offices directly in the field workers' hands. Beyond this restitution of digital, the technologies implemented, which are various, will allow not only to guide operators, but also to check the compliance of operations as and when these operations are carried out. Another lever of performance exists and is, by my mind, essential. It is about allowing, thanks to this digital solution deployed in the field, to capture the reality, to allow operators to share their know-how, their experiences. This is a new powerful way for sharing what one could qualify as the field intelligence, sometimes called, and this is very noble in my mouth, the intelligence of the hands. So digital technologies enable multiple interactions between two operational space, so complementarity. I would add that this ability to capture the reality of tasks and operations carried out in the field is also a key to the traceability I previously mentioned. Before addressing concrete industrial cases, a few words about Diota for those who don't know us yet. Specialized in Industry 4.0, the Diota provides to its partners and customers solutions aimed at contributing to industrial performance through digital, according to the vision and promise previously introduced. To do that, Diota mainly provides two offers. Digital Assisted Operator, called DAO, a complete suite intended to assist human operators, and the DBR for digital-based robotics, and other offer addressing the same promise, but this time by optimizing the use of robotic cells. The company is positioned in several industrial sectors and is proud to count among its customers and partners some major players of the European industry. Positioned as a solution publisher, Diota has also built up an ecosystem of technology partners and integrators with the aim of making the widest possible contribution to the Industry 4.0 revolution. We will come back on this specific positioning of Diota, which will be considerably amplified by its new generation of product and its new platform called Diota 4X. Finally, and probably most of all, Diota has nearly 70 employees in France and Germany, a team of passionate and deeply committed specialists in this new revolution. So, concretely, what use cases are we talking about? I suggest we focus first on the case of structural assembly in aeronautic context. To illustrate my point, I suggest that we watch a video made in partnership with one of our clients and long-standing partners, Dassault Aviation. Tristan, maybe you can launch the video, please.
Aujourd'hui, on cherche à déployer les solutions de réalité augmentée au sein de l'atelier, avant tout pour faciliter le travail de l'opérateur. On peut avoir des tâches assez complexes, impliquant de nombreuses références et de nombreuses localisations. L'avantage principal pour l'opérateur, c'est de s'affranchir des tâches fastidieuses en amont, de marquage, de localisation, et se concentrer directement sur la tâche à valeur ajoutée, à savoir poser la bonne fixation au bon endroit.
Eh bien avant, on était obligé de prendre un plan à la main donc, et tout tracer, soit à la craie, directement sur la voilure. D'où l'erreur qu'on pouvait avoir, on pouvait se tromper. Hein. Voilà. Et grâce à ça, maintenant, là, directement, on sait exactement où vont les épingles. Il n'y a plus lieu d'avoir d'être, enfin de se tromper. Cet outil, c'est l'avenir et ça nous permet donc de visualiser plein de choses sur la voilure et ça nous facilite les choses.
Chez Diota, nous nous efforçons à proposer des solutions qui sont fortement industrialisées, en ce sens qu'elles ont été testées et...
You can come back to the slide?
Yes, yeah. Can please wait just 1 minute?
I'm so sorry for people not speaking French, but I expected everybody can read the subtitle in English. This video is available on the Diota website and on our YouTube channel. I don't know if the slide.
Yes, just sit 1 sec. We're gonna put the slide again.
Okay, perfect. But I can comment. I can use this time to comment the video. So this video illustrates using augmented reality solution for assembly of structural assembly.
It's on again,
Lionel. Yes, I go back to. Okay, industrial aviation context. So, in this context, as mentioned in the operator's testimony, digital solutions using augmented reality will allow intuitive guidance for tasks, minimizing the time required to take ownership of operations and preparatory actions. But that's not all. Indeed, by also using these technologies in inspection and validation operations, as and when the operations are carried out, the solution will considerably reduce non-conformities empowering operators and facilitating possible corrective actions. So it can be noted that with regard to this particular use case, Dassault Aviation uses two types of hardware implementations. Predictive systems, you saw it in the video, for guiding operators, allowing them to keep their hands free, and touchpads for inspection. This device is being better suited for inspecting sets, mechanical sets, taking captures, and annotating. So in both cases, the use of these connected solutions will allow increased traceability in connection with the universal repository that becomes the digital model. So another use case, another emblematic use case concerns the assembly of equipment and, for example, on products such as aircraft engines. In this context, as in the previous case for Dassault Aviation, augmented reality is used for the guidance of the features and the inspection at each stage. Given the geometry of the product, our customers using our solution in this context, such as Safran, use hardware implementations with large screens in order to facilitate the understanding of the work instructions by operator and him to keep his hands free. Given the complexity of the product under consideration and the level of security required in this context, exhaustive inspection is also carried out using the Diota's digital-based robotics solution for inspection. Again, thanks to digital, the manufacturer no longer needs to program robotic cells. All the trajectories to be carried out by the robots are automatically generated using path planning algorithms, and the points of view to be adopted in order to perform captures are directly determined according to what the engineers of the design office have defined in the DMU as to control. This solution uses a large variety of control technologies, including computer vision, 3D analysis, deep learning, and so on. Always in a cross-tech approach, let's note it's also possible to embed algorithms provided by technological partners, or if necessary, to develop and integrate dedicated technological modules if the use case imposes it. Whether it is field data captured during the operational assistance, during in-process inspection, or the final inspection, all the information is aggregated in connection with the digital model, so as to ensure traceability of the entire process, ensuring maximum product quality and contributing to process optimization when errors are detected or when improvements are suggested by operators. So, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to discuss other concrete use cases with you today. So I invite each of you to come closer to us following this conference. Sorry, why this?
Just to let you know, you have a little bit more time because you started a little bit later, so don't worry.
Okay. Yes.
You can go up to 12:05, and then like more around 10 more minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to try to accelerate. As announced at our Deploy 4.0 event on the occasion of our 10th anniversary last October, Diota is now taking a new step in this contribution to this. I have my slide is black. Everybody can see the slide. Yes.
You have to refresh on when you are on the screen. You have to refresh on the right hand side on the top side.
It's okay.
Yeah, and it will be okay.
Okay, so as I explained, Diota is now taking a new step in its contribution to this fourth industrial revolution. In fact, based on these experiences with our partners and customers, and now convinced of the value creation associated with digital solutions dedicated to the industrial field, Diota wishes to enhance the conditions for large-scale deployment of these solutions in interaction with other players of our ecosystems and allowing maximum interoperability with industrial information systems and other digital technologies intended for industrial operational field. Benefiting from all the know-how and experience aggregated during a decade serving the main players in the industry, The new generation of Diota's offer. I'm so sorry, but okay. So so that Diota4X is based on a completely new architecture and a new framework fully mastered and designed to meet the specific requirements of the industry. Beyond the new generation of apps based on this new platform, with a brand new Diota player addressing especially quality and traceability challenges, and a brand new app addressing engineering needs, allowing the development and design of digital content dedicated to the industrial field. Diota4X also offers a set of integration and development tools. Using the Diota Builder framework, Diota4X will give Diota's partners and customers access to a large set of high-level application modules and functional components that efficiently address both engineering and operation needs in the industry. As already mentioned, by implementing a brand new open and extensible data format called WI4, the Diota4X platform offers an unrivaled level of compatibility with the main PLM standards. Diota's technological assets will also be made accessible through this new platform in order to allow our customers and partners to benefit from state-of-the-art technologies for markerless model-based tracking, automatic inspection, reality capture, and so on. The platform also allows the integration of ad hoc technological modules, always in this cross-tech philosophy I mentioned previously. Finally, in line with Diota's promise to address the widest variety of use cases of industrial performance, the Diota4X platform will enable the generation of job-to-be-done applications and their implementation on a large diversity of hardware devices. The platform also allows maximum interaction with other digital systems and technologies deployed in the industry, such as IoT. This platform, whose marketing I confirmed today as of May, is fully in line with this collaborative approach, which is that of Diota. The idea being to allow the combination of skills, know-how, and technologies at the service of the industrial performance. So I don't have enough time, and I think I have spoiled enough for today. I don't want to have issues with my product and markup managers. So I'm very happy to invite you to join our webinar on May 13th in order to discover in more details this new platform, Diota4X. This will be the first in a series of webinars for our partners and the rest of the community, during which new standard solution will be introduced for end users and our future partners in this new step of our common adventure. So to conclude, I'd like to thank again the Laval Virtual team for having made this challenge of maintaining this event so important for our community during this special period. Few organizers of this kind of event have proved as much courageous. Congratulations for that, and thank you again, especially for Laurent. And to all those I usually meet during Laval Virtual, friends for some of them, I hope you're well, and you and yours. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lionel. Before the panel, we have like 5 minutes. If you want to take 1 or 2 questions, there is one question in the chat. Is the Diota framework based upon Unity?
I saw a question concerning the compliance between Diota4X and the Unity framework. So I confirm Diota4X platform is a totally homemade new platform with a specific architecture, with a disruptive approach with microservices and other features, allowing to precisely address the needs and the constraints of the industry. So Diota4X is a new and autonomous platform dedicated to the Industry 4.0. I have another question concerning data. So I mentioned it. Diota4X platform allows to use all the standard formats used in the industry and coming from standard PLM softwares like Dassault Systems, Siemens, PTC, and so on. We have been working with a part of these players for a few months, sometimes a few years, in order to guarantee an automatic and bilateral connection between their solutions and the Diota solutions deployed on the field. And we can add that concerning the MES system, we also work with major players in this domain, but this is more specific connection, and for that we work with partners, with integrators, in order to create all the necessary links to allow this bilateral connection I mentioned previously between engineering spaces for design, but also for productive issues, and the operational field. So as mentioned previously, I invite you to participate to our webinars organized in the next few years. In the next few weeks, sorry, and especially the first one on May 13th, during which we will introduce the Diota4X platform with more details. Maybe an additional question, or I think my time is done. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I think.
Okay, thank you again. And thank you everybody for your attention. And just
thank you, Lionel, for your presentation.
Just to precise, I have a constraint in the real world, so I have to leave this amazing event right now. But several members of the Diota team will be in Laval virtual event during the event, and you can meet them or contact us through the usual ways.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Lionel. Thank you for your presentation. Now we're gonna switch to the panel, which will be animated by Dominique HAZAEL-MASSIEUX.
Hi. Okay, so thank you all. I hope you enjoyed the morning discussion of this cross-technology session. We are going to end this with a panel with 4 people on stage. You heard already from me, if you were here early this morning, and from Marie-Julie 1 hour ago. But before starting the panel proper, I suggest that each of us introduce ourselves again. So I'll start because I was there very early, and I think we have more people than earlier. So I'm Dominique HAZAEL-MASSIEUX. I work for W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, an organization that develops technologies for the web, and in particular, I'm in charge there of our immersive web effort, which brings XR technology to web browsers. Presented earlier with some technical challenges. Marie-Julie, do you want to reintroduce yourself quickly as well?
Yes, so Marie-Julie PECOULT, I am in charge of the product Andy3D Remote in CAPGEMINI since 1 year, and I work on all the subject of AR, VR for the industry since 15 years, I would say. So, and a lot of Laval virtual in real time.
Thank you. Lovis, we haven't heard from you, so if you want to spend maybe just a bit more time presenting yourself.
So hello everyone, I'm really happy to be here first, because it's very nice to be in this virtual environment with all of you. So myself, I'm a 3D interactive designer, a freelance mostly, specialized in XR since 5-6 years. I work mostly in field as a luxury, formation, real estate. Now I work also most of the time with big companies, at the early stage of projects to help them like consulting, but also like to help them to find good freelance and to find people that can realize a project. So most of the time I realize projects in 3D because it's very interactive 3D. I will not say only XR because it's very general. It can be screen, it can be like computers, it can be like anything. And also now I'm working on a startup that I create that's doing automatic retopology of 3D using machine learning. So it's at the early stage, but like interesting to speak about. And that's it for me. Thank you, everyone, to be here.
Thank you, Lovis. Julien, do you want to go next? Maybe presenting your several hats, UMI3D, GFI.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So I'm very happy to be here with you today. So as Dominique explained, so I have multiple hats. So first, I am coordinating the UMI3D consortium, which is developing an open standard for collaboration in extended reality. And second, I am at the head of the XR team in GFI's innovation department. So yeah, with GFI, so GFI is one of the founding members of the UMI3D consortium. So part of the team is developing the UMI3D technology, and the rest of our activity is about developing new products and offers around this technology for GFI.
Thank you, Julien. So the purpose of the panel today is to build a shared understanding of where we are in terms of making XR cross-technology. How can it be more than a technology, but a platform for other technologies and products? The panelists and I have started exchanging a bit offline to get a bit of a vision of where we all are. But I would really want this panel to be as interactive as possible. So if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand and or type them in the chat, which I'll try to follow as much as I can. Here we have a guest on stage here. So I guess I would like to start maybe by asking you, Marie-Julie. So you work for an integrator, and I assume, even though you have a strong focus on XR as part of your day-to-day business dealings, XR there is more an opportunity, a platform, starting point rather than an endpoint. Can you maybe share a bit more of about where you see XR fit in the overall digital landscape?
Yes, thank you. So CAPGEMINI, like you said, is an integrator, and we work a lot with customers with a complete digital continuity. So we have big activity, of course, on PLM, DMU, and so on. And so her objective is clearly to see how to propose to industrial customer to reuse this DMU to produce, of course, XR application, but how to keep the link with this input data and to update easily this new production in XR because, like I said also during my conference, XR is proposed and is used from a long time. We have technologies that are very mature and interesting to use, but it's still sometimes complex and long to produce content. And so the objective is clearly to see how to optimize this production and to manage the update management. So Alexander Ambry from CAPGEMINI is also working on a concept in order to think how to have this XR, what we say BOM, like you have in engineering BOM, you have the manufacturing BOM, the support BOM, how to create a XR BOM in order to have a link between the DMU and all the application we could produce with these new technologies. So clearly, it's a beginning. You talk about also about standards. I see a lot of conference on the event on this subject. I think it's very interesting and very important to see how to do the link between all these tools and how to reuse and optimize this data updating. So we have some thinking about this, and Alexander and Henri could talk about this also. I think it's on Friday.
Thanks a lot, Marie-Julie. So speaking of standards and interoperability, Julien, do you want to maybe explain what's your vision about what standards are needed, what standards are already there for XR to take this role as a funding platform?
Yeah, so I share Julie's point of view about the need for standards and the need for integration of the information systems. And so doing integration with those information systems is quite a difficult task, and we don't want to do it each time we change our devices. So we need standard to make our use cases and concrete applications live longer than the devices, because we replace the devices each 2 years at the moment. So we need standards for developers to have always the same way to get the data from the sensors, from the hardware, and so on. And maybe on this point, so we have some existing or ongoing standards like OpenXR, and that are doing this job of having a common API to address the hardware. On other ends, we need some standards for augmented reality because there is a lot of solutions that enable to track physical object, but there is no standard that allow me to create an augmented reality app and to deploy it on any devices, meaning that I'm always constrained by the devices, the computer vision technology I use support. On that point, there is ongoing things, maybe, so part of it in WebXR, of course, and also in OpenAI Cloud. But I think those standards are really emerging ones and are not ready on that concrete point of tracking physical object and describing the real objects. And finally, so the part of the thing we are working on with UMI3D is we need communication standards to collaborate with different devices, meaning to create collaborative applications between VR devices and AR devices or computers, smartphones, and so on. And we don't want to compile the application for each device each time because too much work.
Thanks. So just to react quickly on WebXR, indeed, WebXR today has only limited support for real-world interactions in augmented reality. It's something we are actively working on, but clearly that is still in the early phases. We had a question from Phil Koval on the chat asking about OpenAI Cloud, whether it is public. Can you maybe say a bit more about OpenAI Cloud to the audience?
Yeah, so OpenAI Cloud is an open community discussing about interoperability for most first geopools, meaning having a global an interoperable specification for finding the 6D poles of a device in the world. So there is no starting project on a platform. So I'm not sure the code will be open source, but the thing is to produce a specification to provide interoperability between the different private geopools platforms, like the one from Magic Leap, the one from Microsoft, and so on.
Thanks. So maybe taking the other perspective, which coming from a standard organization might be weird for me to take. So Lovis, what's your take on this as an interaction designer? Can there be a standards way to design interactions in XR? Is there enough commonalities between AR, VR, and the various use cases that can hope to write once and run everywhere?
Yeah, so it's very interesting to speak about that because first, I think before XR specifications that allow everyone to use XR in every ways in every device, there is a problem still with 3D in general, I think. The problem is also of the size of 3D assets. When you have an image, it will never be oversized like 10 megabytes in general. In 3D, it can be a big difference, and that is a huge problem most of the time when you share 3D with people that don't know so much about it, because most of the time when you want to make an application work for everywhere, you need to optimize it for each device in function of the possibility. So I think first, and there is a problem with that if we can say, but the GLTF, as we spoke about with everyone before, I think could be a solution, but it's just a format of file. After we need also like to optimize this file and to make it work for everywhere. I think also in interaction generally, for the moment, there is a lot of try. There is nothing so specific. That's why it's so interesting for designers as me, because there is a lot of things to do, to create. And also I think now with Unity, with different motor engine, it's not so hard to make an application work for a different device. There is still some specifications that are different, but they are not so far. For me, the most problem for me now in my work when I'm creating experiences in 3D, it's the size of the assets and mostly the 3D size. I hope I answered the question well.
Yes, thanks a lot. So we're talking about how to make XR a platform for, I guess, digital experiences in general. And so we talked about the needs for standards, which standards already exist, which might be needed. We also talked about some of the challenge around standardized approach, like the fact that assets may actually need more adaptation than what standards allow. But if we, again, want this to be a platform, I think we need to look at the broader picture of integration. And naturally, given how XR is about bringing digital into the 3D world, either a real one or virtual one, I think there is a lot of interest around the intersections between IoT in terms of real-world interactions and artificial intelligence around real-world detection or measurement. So I wonder if any of our panelists want to react as to what are the key challenges ahead of us for enabling that type of integration with this other booming field that IoT and AI are nowadays. Marie-Julie, maybe?
Yes, it's difficult because I think I don't have the magic answer for this, and also for the standard. I think it's really the beginning. But what you say, it's important. I think when we started this type of events or AR, VR realization, the majority of the time it was just demonstration or small POC. I think more and more on this subject, we start to have very industrial project, and I think a lot of presentations during the event are interesting on this point. So I think it's a very good news to see that AR VR is just not sexy or just not fun, but really interesting for industry with a big added value for accelerate production and so on. And I think the next step we have to do, and I think it's the beginning, but I see it also in CAPGEMINI that is a very big group because sometimes we have a lot of companies specialized on the specific subject, of course, on AR, VR, and other ones maybe on IoT and so on. And I think what is interesting more and more is to have a very big picture continuity and the link between all the technologies, because today clearly if we want to have good results, to have a return on investments and so on, I think it's interesting to use and to combine all this technology, because we have seen with PTC presentation, but it's very interesting to get IoT data and to display in AR. We know that with 5G it will be very interesting because we will accelerate the visualization, of course, of 3D data with cloud and so on. So I think the step we have to do now is to say, okay, what is my use case, what is my objective, and how I will implement this, combining all the technologies that are really mature today and not just very small and cut projects on very specific subjects. So I think it's very important to firstly identify which use case to improve, to think about digital continuity and how to reuse data, to take the modification and so on, and to do the link with all this new technology we have today to improve activity.
Thank you. And so, is there anything you can share about how CAPGEMINI approaches needs for integration across these various fields? Is it on an ad hoc basis based on each project, or is there a more overarching approach to that question?
Yeah, so today what is important, CAPGEMINI has innovation center into a lot of big cities, so in France, but also worldwide. And the objective is with each team specialized on all these subjects of IoT, blockchain, AI, and so on, to discuss and to collaborate. And so we start to have projects and discussions with the majority of the time, of course, it's more big industrials, to define roadmap in terms of innovation and in terms of digital transformation. So into CAPGEMINI, we have teams that is CAPInvent for this definition, this use case identification, and so on. Then we work with the innovation center to do the link between the different technologies. And then we have a very big expert and architect, how to say, community, in order to propose the best one and the link between these subjects. We don't have the complete solution and for everybody, but we are able to help customers to think about this thanks to all the task force we can have into the company.
Thanks. Julien, any perspective you have on the topic of integrating XR with these other fields?
Oh, yeah, of course. So I think what we are doing at GFI about integration is quite the same Julie is describing at CAPGEMINI. And yeah, so for myself, the standard part of the thing is how to create an experience in XR which is integrated to those systems, and the standards help us to make it available to any devices. But of course, there is no standards for integration of a PLM. There is quite no standard for the integration of an IoT platform. So it will be different for each industry or for each time. But the main focus we have at the moment is how to let the users customize their experience with data coming directly from their information system. So for example, we are creating an editor for collaborative XR experience where you can just drag and drop object from your PLM. So to do that, it's quite difficult because you have to make automatic the optimization of the 3D data from the CAD. You have to integrate the APIs of the information system. And on the other end, we have the same thing for IoTs, meaning we have a connector for different IoT platforms. And the interface is allowing to connect the data from the sensors to the CAD to animate it. For example, to reproduce the animation of a robot in real time in a digital twin, so to review it with multiple users or to do some remote assist sessions. And the difficulty and the good point in the integration is you can create this experience and run it each month, but each time you will be using the data from your information system. So you need the updated data each time without to redevelop everything. So this is where integration is so important.
So I guess what we're hearing here is that as I guess in anywhere digital, data and data interoperability are key elements to actually doing this type of more in-depth integration. I'm also hearing that right now we are still in this exploratory phase where we know we want integration, we know we want standards to facilitate it integration. We don't know exactly yet what kind of standards are needed. Lovisa, I'm curious, you mentioned you have this stealth startup around machine learning. Can you maybe comment on the role you see for AI in general and machine learning in particular to play in this space?
Yeah, it was very interesting to hear all about that, about data and stuff, because data is still a big problem in general, because data are different everywhere. In every companies are different, in every field, in everything. So it's very hard to make product for that. What I'm creating right now and what could be interesting for you, I'm creating a company that's doing automatic retopology. So to explain that a bit in easier ways, to optimize model in 3D the quickest possible. So what we do to create that is we made different designers create retopology by hand. That means to recreate an asset in 3D by hand. Like for example, a building that is very complex, that is a CAD, that we need to transform it like to a very low poly to make it for an experience in XR, for example. So we make that, we made like, I don't know, like for the moment, I think 1,000 or 2,000 different models by different designers that are optimized. And what we use now with our system of machine learning is we already implement that. And we try to make our system understand better and better when people adding a model and what parts are good, what parts are bad, to make it the most complex possible. But firstly, this tool could be very useful for what I use right now in real estate. I work with a lot of big real estate agencies in Paris, and there is a huge problem with that, how to make it easy, to make it cross-platform for their model, and the tools that we create right now could be really useful for companies, for example.
Thanks. So in this case, it is machine learning supporting
Exactly.
XR. Okay, great. That's very interesting.
Exactly.
Marie-Julie, Julien, do you have insight on the other way around as well? That is, how can XR be complementary to existing or emerging usage of AI, for instance, in the industry?
Not specifically on blockchain, but if the question is the use of XR in general, yes, I think we will have more and more interest to use this type of technology with also what I say more IA for. Hear me? Yeah. So yes, sorry, I would say on what we say maintenance predictive, when we have all what we can see on AI, I think augmented reality will be very interesting in order to give the good information at the good moment for the operator in order to do his job.
Okay, so from our side, so of course there is the integration of the AI coming from the digital twin for predictive maintenance and so on, just to see the result of the computation of the prediction in AR/VR. We are also starting some things about integrating conversational agent, virtual agent, meaning natural language processing and so on in collaborative XR application to do some text and conversation analysis to detect the alignment or agreement between users just to make the experience better and to detect when two users do not focus on the same thing when discussing together, for example. So I think this part of AI could be really useful in collaborative application. And of course, AI is also used just in computer vision to improve tracking in AR. There is now some SLAM algorithms based on machine learning and improved by AI. So there is multiple ways to benefits of AI in XR.
Thanks. That I should say that matches also the vision we are trying to push in WCC. So I presented earlier this morning our work around the immersive web XR, so bringing XR to web browsers. We also have very active work around bringing some of the machine learning primitives to web browsers so that you can run models very efficiently inside the browser. We also have work with integrating the IoT into the web. We call this web of things because web is everything for us, as well as work in bringing more sensor data to web browsers. And I guess this matches our overall vision that the web is certainly one great target for that type of integrated view of the digital landscape. So we hope that by increasing the capabilities of the web in all these very rich directions, we can reach a stage where we use the web as the integration point where all of these data sources, all of these experiences can be built together.
And I think web is a very good solution to deploy largely this type of application because from my side on the product Andy3D Remote, we see the majority of customers doesn't want to install something or they don't want to oblige their customers or manufacturers to install something. So web is important and is the solution to deploy largely this type of application. So I think it's important to work on this standard and this improvement of 3D application.
If I can add something to that also, I'm really agree with that web can be really a solution for that. Even with the use, we maybe speak about a bit later about that, but cloud computing, that means like to streaming asset or to streaming content through the internet connection. So without the use of the GPU of your computer or of your CPU. And we see already like good advancement with like what did Google with Stadia, for example, even with the latency, because when we do cloud computing in web, there can be like some latency, and there is like a lot of solution now in artificial intelligence that help to destroy a bit this latency or to make it like lower and lower. So I think web, like it's really something I say, Marie-Julie, that can be like everyone can use easy with a computer without installation, and that can be a big advancement. And even I know people working in WebXR now a lot, and there is a lot of example with like Chrome 81, the new version that allow like WebXR completely on your browser. So in the few years, it will be something we see more and more like experiences on the web in 3D.
Julien, any reaction on the use of the web as one of these platforms?
The usage of the web is crucial. So from UMI3D point of view, so we are working on a web communication standard. So I can only tell that this is important. So And it is also about streaming and hosting 3D environment and making it persistent. For instance, UMI 3D is separating the devices and the content and interaction. So we have a master server which is managing collaboration between different connected users regardless to the device. So it is hosted in the cloud. So it is a web-based solution. So after that, you need some AR, VR, some XR browsers. So of course we are designing some native application with Unity to be UMI 3D browsers, but to make it available to more people, it is a good idea to make it available and browsable into standard and usual web browsers like Chrome and Firefox. And this is something the UMI 3D consortium is interested to, is to develop a UMI 3D browser using WebXR, for example.
Thanks. That sounds very interesting to me. I hope we'll get to follow up on this. Lovisa, I looked at your portfolio and I see you did build project around WebGL, and I don't know if that also included WebXR at all. Do you have any comment on how useful it is from a more designer perspective?
Nowadays, when we create, for example, we create a big website in WebGL. It was like truly a website that we create for our studies at Gobelin School in Paris. And the name was heraclosgame.com, that you can still play today. And we create this game fully in WebGL using 3.js. And it was a huge work, very, very long. What is a bit like it was really more easy at the time, like 2 or 3 years ago, to create an experiences like this in Unity than on the web. In a lot of ways, it's really more easy. You have like to do less optimization. You have to take care less about your assets. But when you do WebGL for the month, if you want to have a true experiences complete and working on the most of the browser, there is the need of a lot of work. But also I want to add that if everyone wants to try to create these WebXR experiences, Mozilla, they allow on Unity to create WebXR experiences. There is a demo that you can download in the plugin and that you can like after upload on your server and in scene, and that you can like test WebXR. Normally they follow the last specification of it. It's updated since just 1 week or 2 weeks ago. So if everyone wants to try it like in an easy way, I would advise to use this Unity stuff or to use A-Frame if you want to start with it. And for sure, Mozilla Hub, I will finish with that because Mozilla Hub is really a very nice platform to exchange, and it's one of the best WebXR platform for me. So if everybody wants to try, you could do.
Yes, thanks. I will just say that I agree. These are excellent references, and we in WCC obviously work very directly with Mozilla on WebXR, so they are very strongly involved in that work. So I'll catch up with one question that was asked earlier on the chat. Also, I would encourage anyone that has questions to either raise their hands or put their question on the chat. So Laura Smith was asking about the value of 3D visualization in AR. How much is that beneficial over 2D data visualization? And the question was addressed to you specifically, Marie-Julie. I don't know if you have insight on this.
Yes, maybe I can answer. I'm not sure to see the question, but I will try to give one answer because I work on 3D subjects from a long time. The interest of 3D is if you have a system like, for example, an helicopter engine, you have to do an operation on this. So else you have already textual and 2D illustration for procedure that you can have in paper, that you can have on HoloLEDs, but on screen. And you have to, your mind has to do the comparison and the link between the reality and the 2D. The interest of 3D is to bring 3D model on top on the reality and to see directly what you have to do in AR with the parts moving, showing you what you have to do and so on. So of course, it depends on the subject. But when you have the DMU, when you have a real system on which you have to operate a complex task, and you have someone that is not well trained or with few experience, I think it's really interesting to have AR, 3D in AR, in order to explain you how to remove a part or a complete system. I have started this subject with Airbus 15 years ago, where they decided to realize 3D animations in order to explain very big operations they have to do on aircraft with very big tools to install around, for example, an engine or a landing gear and so on. And clearly, you have a very big added value with 3D instead of 2D. But clearly, it depends the context, of course. I'm not sure to have answered to the question.
Yes, thanks. And was it Julien or Lovis trying to?
Yeah, so I have the same kind of experience. Just in a few months ago, we designed a remote assist experience for an industrial robot, and the context was to assist the replacement of one part of the machine. So this has been designed as a collaborative application between one remote expert who is using a VR headset and an operator using just a tablet or a smartphone. And the objective was to be able to superimpose an animation of the way the part is supposed to be moved, to be replaced. So this is exactly the same. Julie explained it. So we superimpose the 3D of the object, and we animate it to show the operators how to do it. In the case he don't succeed the operation and he need more help, we are able to display in 3D the avatar of the remote user, of the expert, and it is possible to put your hands or your finger on a specific part and to show things in 3D. And this kind of spatial collaboration is really useful and more efficient than only a 2D video about what the operator is seeing.
Yeah, I loved how Lionel in the previous talk, the previous presentation highlighted XR as a great way to push for the intelligence of the hands. To my mind, a lot of these digital technologies really are meant as a way to improve our own capabilities, and with 2D only experience we've had so far, we were limited in using a lot of what our brain has been optimized for generations over. And I think XR and spatial computing in general really show promises whenever we can tap into these spatial capabilities, which have also been shown to have really high cognitive impact in how we understand and learn about the world.
If I can just add something to that, because I think I have a good use of case that we create with the company BNP Paribas Real Estate, with partnership with Magic Leap and Unity and Mimesis also. So we create like holoportation, yeah. So it's we use the application Spatial to show like 3D assets, like mostly buildings and stuff, and to exchange with different people using AR. So we have we work like with Magic Leap, so we have different headsets in different countries, and nowadays we do like meetings about like buildings in 3D using AR headsets, and it's really useful compared to using just to visualize the building. To see it in 3D, it's really better than a simple 2D image, for example. So I think it was a good use of case that we're working on it right now.
Thanks. The time is running. I think we are at the end of our allotted time. I would like just maybe to open again room for one question from the room, if anyone would like to raise a question to this panel. Well, if not, I guess I will thank the panelists for the time.